Hello friends and welcome to another figure study where we appreciate the form in Transformers. Today, taking a look at Titans Return Deluxe Class Blurr. Blurr. Now, I know Blurr isn't meant to really be a Headmaster or Titan Master in this case, but honestly I really like this guy. And I never really had the original Blurr growing up, so I don't have too many direct comparisons I can make based on my own nostalgia, but this guy's very cool. Vehicle mode is this very sleek looking future car thing, which is pretty nice. And it packs up really nicely too. And I have removed the gun that goes here because you know me and accessories. But yeah, he's a neat looking vehicle. And I think it's really interesting how in vehicle mode, while there is some interesting molded detail on him, a lot of the detail that he has is mostly flat and smooth surfaces, with the exception of like the little boosters in the back and stuff. But that's all going to change when he goes into robot mode, which is kind of a neat little contrast. But there are some decent little details in there. Most of his detail comes from his paint job, which is all in the front, and that's kind of a shame. Really wish that they had done a little bit more back here to just kind of help make everything else pop. As it is, it's just like blue and then a little bit of color going up here. But I do like the different shades that they have going, with like this very light blue here and here, and then this almost purplish blue that kind of goes along the canopy or whatever you want to call it along through here, and then just this nice little bit of dark blue in this little strip here, which comes across on the nose too. I think overall, like, it's not a bad, it's a good color scheme. There's just not enough of it in vehicle mode. There's really not enough of it in robot mode either, but we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, I like the look of this. I do like it. Now, pop this open. Take this little guy out. We'll get to him in a second. You can see there is actually, as with Sentinel Prime, there's a lot of molded detail inside this little cockpit area, which is really cool. And again, I totally appreciate that they've been doing that with the Titans Return figures. I like all that detail. I think it's cool. Now, moving on to the Titan Master. Get that out of the way. And again, we're going to ignore the face on the back because, you know, that'll be in robot mode. It's a, you know, typical, simple design overall, but again, absolutely filled to the brim with textural details. And I do like that they painted the arms silver and the legs that dark, very dark gray color, because it helps him stand out a little bit more as in his Titan Master mode, where he looks like a tiny little action figure instead of just a block of plastic like some of the other Headmaster or Titan Masters do. And they painted his face, which, tiny little thing, but much appreciated. So yeah, his little dude looks pretty good. And again, don't know the name of this guy, don't care. And there's his car. Actually, just for fun, let's try to peg him onto the car just for a little bit just for something a little different. Yeah. He looks good. And yes, you can remove the front for like a little sled thing, but it's stupid and I'm not going to bother. So yeah, that is Blurr's vehicle mode, and it is a nice little vehicle mode that it could use more paint, but overall I do dig the shape of it. But now, we're going to take a look at his robot mode. Blurr's robot mode is actually less colorful than his vehicle mode, which is a real shame because this is actually a really, really cool looking robot mode. I mean, I really dig the overall silhouette of him. I mean, you know, the little booster leg bits make his calves look enormous, but other than that, it's fine. But it's all blue with like a slightly darker blue, and then this lighter purpley blue in the chest, and then like the light blue for the face, and that's it. There's so little color variation going on here, which, you know, I can live with. I'm okay. I've made my peace with it, but it's just there's so much that they could have done with this. And it's a real shame because there's a lot of really cool detail here that gets lost because of the lack of color. I mean, it's nice that they added a little bit on the bottom here with the silver and red, but you don't really get a lot with this guy when it comes to color. But the overall shape and proportions, aside from these bits, very nice. And the face is a very nice looking face, and yet again, I'm going to get into how just, yeah, like I like this. Just the paint scheme is nice. It's a little bit weird how the eyes are the same color as the rest of his head. It's just like the face that's been painted, but other than that, it's a good looking head and lots of nice molding in there, which again, true to form for all of these figures. And this Blurr is actually the Titan Master, or the Titan's Return figure, that made me really interested in getting a lot more of these, because I really do like all of the different molded detail and texture that they have going on here. It looks so good in most places. And even these little like gappy bits, they actually molded in little bits and details there that they didn't need to put in there. So while it is full of gaps, there is still some detail in those gaps, which is really cool. And you've got all this detail. Get this out of the way. You got all this detail here that is normally the back of the seat of the vehicle mode, because, you know, this is the canopy. But like, you've got, flip that up and you still have a lot of really cool detail in there. And you've got all this other detail going along here and along the legs, on the inside of the legs, the feet, the underside of the feet even have molded details. I'm fairly sure, if we open this up, yep, there's even molded detail inside of the legs. It's just, he's covered with it, and I really, really like that. And then, of course, there's the one little bit of color on him, on his back, which can be detached. And I'm going to detach it because screw it. Yeah, come on. Come on. There we go. But then even here on his back, you can see there's a lot of texture to it, and I really, really like that. I really am into that. And even on the underside here, he is absolutely covered in texture, and I love it. I just wish that there was more paint to it. And of course, you've got this that can peg to his arm, and I actually really like that. I like the whole like big shield thing. I think that's a cool look. But yeah, and I've left his blaster out because who cares? Although the blaster does add a little bit more color to him in robot mode. But Titan's Return Blurr, I really, really do like this robot mode. I just wish there was more color. It just, like with the shield, it adds a little bit more, but that's an accessory. The robot mode itself is almost entirely this flat blue, or slightly turquoisey blue. And that is a real shame. But aside from that, he is really cool looking. He looks great. He's got a really nice, natural, almost heroic looking pose. He's fairly posable in his own right. He's got lots of really nice molded details. And as I've said, he's the reason why I wanted to start diving into more Titan's Return stuff, because there's so much texture and detail in him that it made me want to see what the other ones have. And a lot of them have lots of really cool details like this guy. So anyway, Blurr could definitely use more color, but he's very cool regardless. And I am interested in getting Brainstorm. I haven't been able to find him because of that stupid Walgreens exclusive nonsense. I've been searching and have not had any luck, and I refuse to pay close to 3 times the in-store price to get this thing from eBay scalpers. I am not going to do that. So, we'll see. If I ever do get my hands on Brainstorm, you had best be sure that I'm going to do a video on him. But until then, Blurr will have to do. And Blurr is a perfectly good figure in his own right. As long as you like blue. So that's been my look at Titan's Return Deluxe Class Blurr. Thank you everybody for watching. As per usual, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Any combination of those three would make me a happy Rob. And as always, art is more than meets the eye.